Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. Naruto yelled a certain very pissed off Chunin sensei. Z's was the only sound available from a certain sleeping blonde-haired boy. Grr. Stop sleeping and get your butt working. Roared Iruka. Z. Oh ho, to say Iruka was pissed was an understatement. He had tried all sorts of nice ways of waking Naruto up. Alas, not even using a microphone and aiming it right at Naruto's ear did the job, so now, he had to resort to the old-fashioned, evil ways, namely, take that, splash, gah, what the hell Iruka-sensei? Snarled a very wet Naruto, not to mention cold as well. The nerve of him, it's not my fault his classes are so boring. Suddenly, the whole class that was laughing just seconds ago turned deathly quiet. Naruto blinked, before looking up at Iruka once again, only to find his face red with fury, his veins popping out from everywhere possible in his neck and face, his fists clenching so tight that they were turning white, his teeth were gritting, his eyes were glaring with such an intensity that even enemy nins would have binned. Naruto gulped, before giving an awkward grin. Aha, I didn't say that loud did I? Smash. You're dead, roared Iruka as he smashed his fist on the desk, where Naruto's head was a second ago. Oops, my bad, gotta go. And with that, once again, the blonde took off, with Iruka chasing after him. The rest of the class burst out in laughter at the scene before them. One would think that they could get used to this if it happened every day. Well, they are sadly mistaken, for this has happened for the past 2 years, every single day, and still, nobody could deny the laughter it brought to the class. Even Shino, the ever so quiet Aburame, was chuckling. Ino and Sakura were having the time of their lives laughing at the pranks played by Naruto. They had become the best of friends once again after that incident, and even got the chance to train with Kareki to increase their chakra control and capacities. Of course, they did train once with Anko, if you could call that training. Naruto had to piggyback them home, seeing how they were totally unconscious by the end of the intensive torture training. And to say Haruno Nayuki and Yamanaka Yukiko were angry would seriously be the understatement of the century. Especially Nayuki. To Naruto, she was always so kind and gentle, oh boy, but when she let out her inner self, dubbed Inner Nayuki, it was way too scary. Naruto had to reassure her that this sort of stuff won't ever happen again to calm her down. Funny thing was, Anko never knew this happened. Yukiko on the other hand raised an eyebrow as she heard her daughter tell her about how she would get stronger this way and stuff like that, and finally gave in. And so, they trained mainly with Kareki, who was more than happy to help. Both of them thoroughly enjoyed the times they spent with Naruto, and when they entered the academy, for the first year, they were separated, leaving Sakura with Ino and Naruto by himself along with some others like Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji and Aburame Shino. And so, it led to this other event. Flashback. Hey look, it's that girl with the big forehead. Yeah, so ugly. Can you believe it? HMPH, and she thinks she's so pretty. Get her. Amy and her gang began to surround Sakura, only to find her scowling. Would you girls move? I'm waiting for Ino. Amy looked stunned, but regained her posture immediately. She smirked. Who? That pony-tailed blondie. My, lousy looks, lousy friends. Sakura's eyes narrowed. You don't want to finish that sentence. Ami's smirk widened. Oh, and what are you going to do? Cry. Ha. That Yamanaka has nothing. I'm the queen here. No one messes with me. HMPH, and I heard you even befriend that blonde demon. Smash. A fist lodged itself firmly in her face, sending her onto the ground. Another came and gave her an uppercut, almost breaking her jaw, almost. Ino landed gracefully and high-fived Sakura. Thanks. No problem, now I see we have some unfinished business. Sakura smirked evilly. Ino grinned. Yep. They dare badmouth Naruto And it turned into a huge fight at the playground that day. Sakura and Ino emerged victorious, but not before getting scolded, i.e. yelled at with Iruka with big scary head jutsu on. They were pouting all along, and when Iruka finally finished lecturing them on the negative aspects of beating classmates up, he asked them why. To say he was surprised by their answer could be reasonable. They were insulting Naru-kun. Yeah, and Ino too. Iruka's jaw dropped. Whoa. Naruto got not one, but two girls to support him. The kids got class. No, what was he thinking? Naruto's way too young. And so, he dismissed the two of them and went to have a talk with Naruto. Flashback end. Sakura giggled at that memory and looked at Ino, only to find she was smiling as well. It was obvious they were both remembering what had happened. Poor Naruto was eating ramen, only to get yelled at by a very nervous and anxious Iruka, warning him about the dangers of premature relationships and how taking advantage of girls was a very unmanly thing to do and stuff like that. He got so confused that he had run off to Kareki, asking her about all the stuff Iruka said. The next day, a very red-faced Kareki had gone to visit Iruka. He was sent to the hospital for a week after she was done with him. Sigh. Those were the good days. And the funny thing is, even though Sakura and Ino are sure that Naruto knows all the stuff they had been studying in class, he was somehow the dobe in class, in terms of test results. But outside of class, everyone knew he was one of the smartest guys out there, and his happy-go-lucky attitude made it very easy for others to be friends with him. Here's the thing, Naruto can answer any question Iruka throws at him, however, his test results were never higher than 50%. In fact, it was always 50%. Every single test. Not once did it go below, not once did it go on top. It was amazing, yet ridiculous at the same time. What was the chance of that happening? Apparently a very high chance, seeing Iruka was getting really frustrated at Naruto's lack of interest in his classes. Yo, I'm back. Iruka-sensei has just given us the rest of the day free. Yelled a grinning Naruto as he dashed back into the class, followed by a very tired Iruka. No, I didn't. Yelled Iruka as the whole class once again started laughing. Just then, the bell signaling the end of the day rang and everyone cheered. Smash. A fist lodged itself firmly in her face, sending her onto the ground. Another came and gave her an uppercut, almost breaking her jaw, almost. Ino landed gracefully and high-fived Sakura. Thanks. No problem, now I see we have some unfinished business. Sakura smirked evilly. Ino grinned. Yep. They dare badmouth Naruto And it turned into a huge fight at the playground that day. Sakura and Ino emerged victorious, but not before getting scolded, i.e. yelled at with Iruka with big scary head jutsu on. They were pouting all along, and when Iruka finally finished lecturing them on the negative aspects of beating classmates up, he asked them why. To say he was surprised by their answer could be reasonable. They were insulting Naru-kun. Yeah, and Ino too. Iruka's jaw dropped. Whoa. Naruto got not one, but two girls to support him. The kids got class. No, what was he thinking? Naruto's way too young. And so, he dismissed the two of them and went to have a talk with Naruto. Flashback end. Sakura giggled at that memory and looked at Ino, only to find she was smiling as well. It was obvious they were both remembering what had happened. Poor Naruto was eating ramen, only to get yelled at by a very nervous and anxious Iruka, warning him about the dangers of premature relationships and how taking advantage of girls was a very unmanly thing to do and stuff like that. He got so confused that he had run off to Kareki, asking her about all the stuff Iruka said. The next day, a very red-faced Kareki had gone to visit Iruka. He was sent to the hospital for a week after she was done with him. Sigh. Those were the good days. And the funny thing is, even though Sakura and Ino are sure that Naruto knows all the stuff they had been studying in class, he was somehow the dobe in class, in terms of test results. But outside of class, everyone knew he was one of the smartest guys out there, and his happy-go-lucky attitude made it very easy for others to be friends with him. Here's the thing, Naruto can answer any question Iruka throws at him, however, his test results were never higher than 50%. In fact, it was always 50%. Every single test. Not once did it go below, not once did it go on top. It was amazing, yet ridiculous at the same time. What was the chance of that happening? Apparently a very high chance, seeing Iruka was getting really frustrated at Naruto's lack of interest in his classes. Yo, I'm back. Iruka-sensei has just given us the rest of the day free. Yelled a grinning Naruto as he dashed back into the class, followed by a very tired Iruka. No, I didn't, yelled Iruka as the whole class once again started laughing. Just then, the bell signaling the end of the day rang and everyone cheered. Nonetheless, Ino really enjoyed these moments with Naruto, for she would just lay on his shoulders, feeling his heartbeat close to hers, almost in unison. It felt warm, soothing, and the way he treats her like a princess is just a bonus. She really appreciates his presence. Like that time, when Ino had gotten a cut from accidentally brushing her hand across a thorn on a rose, he had stayed by her side the whole time, bandaging her finger carefully, and had blown on it for ages until he made sure that the pain was no longer there. That was when they were 6. And always, Ino found ways to thank him, like preparing bento lunch boxes for him and Sakura, yet his would be a little bit more special, either the design or ingredients. Sakura had always complained about how Naruto gets the most or the best stuff. And Naruto would laugh and split it between the three of them, getting a kiss on the cheek from them both. It just seemed so natural. They were like brother and sisters together. However, a part of her always nagged at her to not think of it that way, but she mostly ignored it. Come now, Ino. Time to go. Ino groaned as she slid off Naruto's back and steadied herself before pouting at Naruto, only to find him giving her a short tap on her forehead. Immediately, a small stream of chakra flew into her body through the tenketsu pressure points, and she was wide awake straight away. Naruto chuckled. Now, run along, I've gotta go. See ya. And with that, he ran off, waving back every now and then. Ino sighed and muttered, Baka. Oh, and who may I ask caused my daughter to sigh with such extreme frustration? To-san. Father, don't scare me like that. Ino glared at Inoichi, who was currently laughing at the look on his daughter's face. What's going on out here? Yukiko came out, and bopped Inoichi on the head. You're an adult, so fooling around. Come on, dinner's ready, Ino-chan, Hayaku. Hurry up. Ino huffed and rushed into the house, but not before slamming the door to her room, clearly angry. Inoichi chuckled as he told Yukiko what he saw. At the end of it, Yukiko almost squealed after hearing how Naruto and Ino were so close. She had always liked the boy, and Inoichi too was very impressed with his determination and perseverance in real life. The couple talked about it some more, before going back in to persuade their daughter to come down to dinner. After all, when it comes to dealing with children, parents have their ways. With Naruto. Yo, Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba. Whatcha up to? Mendokus, I swear if you ask me what this means, Naruto, do you always have to be so loud? Mumbled a certain Nara as he laid the next move on the shogi board. Choji was merely munching on chips as he waved hello to Naruto. Kiba appeared to be deep in thought and yelped in surprise, therefore placing the piece on the wrong space. No, Naruto, how could you do this to me? Yelled Kiba as he cried mock tears at losing the hard-fought battle. Shikamaru placed a finger in his ear, trying to see if his eardrums had burst, before replying, "Oh, come on Kiba, you've only made 10 moves anyway, doesn't matter. Come Naruto, you could give me a good game." Naruto grinned as he patted Kiba on the back, consoling him as he wept to Akamaru about how he was so close to victory. "Hey, Shino, come on, don't just stand there. How many times do we have to remind you, just come and have fun? You don't have to be that formal," laughed Naruto as Shino emerged from the shadows. "I have no idea what you're talking about, Naruto." "Me neither, but hey, that was pretty deep." Everyone's sweat dropped at Naruto's lame remark, but dismissed it as Naruto began his game with Shikamaru. It was always quite intense, seeing how the score was almost always tied. Right now, it was 34 to 33, in favor of Shikamaru. Naruto had found Shogi and Go to be very relaxing in some ways. True, it's quite hard to think of multiple strategies on the spot, but it allows the body to take a break from the physical stress, and let the mind do some work. Shikamaru and Naruto made it a point to at least play one game a day, that way, both can stay sharp at all times. Alright, now it's 34 all. Say, Shikamaru, Gomen, but I really have to run. See ya guys tomorrow. Naruto grinned as he quickly ran off. There was silence in the background, before Kiba spoke up, "That guy. He just doesn't want to lose once he's won, right?" Shino gave a nod. "Indeed, that seems to be the case." Shikamaru merely sighed, "Mendokus." Choji laughed. "Demo, Shikamaru, that was a good move wasn't it?" Shikamaru smirked, "Forcing my queen to protect the king, before backing me into a corner, nice tactic. That guy just keeps coming up with new stuff." Kiba snorted. "Well, what did you expect? He is Konoha's #1 surprising ninja. He should have been this year's best rookie, but maybe hanging around you has its downsides as well." Shikamaru chuckled. "It does seem so Mendo no baka. Troublesome dumbass. With Naruto again. Kureki ne-chan. I'm home. Welcome back. Dinner's ready, so how's the game with Shikamaru?" "I won. It's a tie once again. And you left after you won that round, right?" "What? I just didn't want my beloved Ne-chan to wait too long." Yeah, I'm so grateful." Kureki moved out of the Hyuga manor after that night, and along with Naruto, she moved into another apartment, slightly bigger than Naruto's original one. But this time, she was there to make sure that Naruto had a much better life than before. She really did care for him as a big sister. It was like having a blob of energy alongside you, spicing up your life every day. Some villagers had found it weird that a Hyuga was with the demon of the village, and had thought Kureki was hypnotized. She sent them straight to the hospital when they tried to save her from the monstrous demon. Pathetic beings. Well, like her best friend always said, when you're dumb, nothing you do can change that. More will be elaborated about this comment in later chapters. Kureki had supervised Naruto's training and made sure he mastered all of the styles within Tai Chi Jusen Shiki. She taught Naruto the lengthened version of the Suru style. Ryudo Gensu Ken, Flowing Illusions Fist, involves the basis and positions of 8 divinations and the 5 elements of nature. It focuses on fluidity, speed, agility and flexibility. Naruto got it down quickly, but have complained that it somewhat goes against his style. Kureki can see it as well. Naruto is more of a brawler. Even though he would think before going in, he prefers to combine speed with strength. He likes to fight his opponents right on, not wanting to beat around the bush. And that totally defies the point of using Ryudo Gensu Ken. This style is the final stage of the combined styles of Habi, Suru and Suru. It allows the user to wait for openings and use the opponent's power against themselves. Kureki could only chuckle as she saw his evident disappointment in not being able to show off his extreme power, but cheered up when he realized his speed and agility would increase by heaps. And so, he has now practically learned the style, and so, it's up to him to perfect it. To be honest, Kureki knew the perfect style to fit Naruto's needs. Ryusei's taijutsu could be described as Naruto's dream style. Speed, precision, strength and power. That's all you need. No techniques are wasted. All strikes must be accurate and straight to the point. That taijutsu is one of the reasons why Ryusei was the leader of the Shifuke, 4 guardians, of Hai no Kuni. But, guess it'll all have to come down to the kid's luck. Thought Kureki as she watched the boy rush through dinner. She knew he wanted to train more, and she complied, acting as his sparring partner. Naruto had actually been a very sharp kid. He had often asked her why she kept spacing off at times during training. And so she had told him about a certain aqua-haired brat acted the same way he did when he was 10. They were quite similar, and Kureki couldn't help but feel amused. "Nei-chan, can we start? Today's the day. The big day, the absolutely fascinating day that every single academy student was waiting for, the day for the genin exams." Everyone was excited, make no doubt about that. But as we all know, excitement can lead to lack of sleep at night, and it can also lead to people oversleeping. The best example would be a certain blonde-haired kid snoring lightly in his bed, even when the clock showed 9 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't help that Kureki was at the Hokage's office, reporting on Naruto's recent achievements in minor missions with her. He had trained himself to the limit last night, going over the basics of chakra control once again. He had found out a way to fully utilize Bunshin no Jutsu, and he was going to make sure he did it right. Kureki left at 7, meaning, "Naruto. Nani? 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 Nani?" Naruto sprung up from the bed, twisting his head left and right, trying to find the cause of such an uproar. And he found it. Standing right in front of him was an exasperated Kureki. "Naruto, how many times must I tell you? Never train the day before an important mission. You rest and make sure you stay alive and awake, not go train yourself to death and miss the mission," said Kureki as she gently smacked him on the head. Nay, Kureki Nei-chan, what time is it?" He gave a big yawn as he got off his bed, trying to blink his sleepiness away. Kureki sighed. 9. Naruto blinked. He stuck his pinky in his ear and cleared off some earwax. What time was it? Kureki clenched her fists. 9. Naruto yawned again. Great. It's only 9 p.m. Now I get to sleep more. It's 9 a.m. you lazy bum. Almost half of Konoha heard the shrewd desperate cry that erupted from a certain apartment. Nani? At the academy. Sakura was tapping her foot. Ino was trying her best to decide whether she should Naruto quickly or give him a slow painful death. He was late. 1 hour late. Yeah, and they were about to get to the bottom of the list of names of students taking this exam. They were currently on Sasuke, as in Uchiha Sasuke. Unlike other girls, right now, the name Uchiha actually meant quite a lot. See, where other girls would magically make all their Uchiha fangirl merchandise appear out of nowhere straight away, Sakura and Ino knew that the word held so much more meaning. The name after Uchiha happens to be Uzumaki, and there is only one Uzumaki in this whole class, and he is late, meaning he'll miss the exam, as in he'll lose the chance to become a genin with them. Yeah, that would probably be the reason why both girls had an aura that screamed, death, and indeed, even Sasuke felt a little terrified at the sight of Sakura cracking her knuckles and Ino fingering her kunai. Yeah, not the most reassuring scene. Iruka sighed as he came to the next name. Uzumaki Naruto, and here he was contemplating whether he should skip it and let others do it first, but he saw the glee in Mizuki's eyes and knew there was no way he could pull it off. Therefore, sighing, Iruka called out, "Up next, Uzumaki Naruto. Please enter the room for your genin exam." Silence. Well, not exactly. The shivering of bodies due to the intensified death aura of the two girls did cause some noise. Calling again. "Uzumaki Naruto, please make your way into the exam room." Akamaru was whimpering within Kiba's jacket, trying to get his owner to stay as far away from the girls as possible. Kiba, however, had been dumb enough to ignore it. What, Akamaru? They aren't that scary. HMPH, maybe that blonde idiot might even fail. Oh shit. Indeed, what would you do when you had just pissed off two already angered females? Kiba did the most sensible thing. He ran like girl. And he got caught seeing how the other two ran faster. And the scene wasn't pretty. Uzumaki Naruto, last chance to get into the exam room. Kiba's cries slowly got louder as the two began to seriously vent their frustrations on the unlucky dude who had been dumb enough to test their patience. Mizuki smirked. All right, then, Uzumaki Naruto, due to his inability to be late, and therefore, here I am. So wait the hell up. Yelled a certain blonde as he charged into the class via the window and landed onto the floor, skidding to a halt right in front of Sakura and Ino, and the figure that used to be Kiba. Naru-kun. Ino latched herself onto him straight away, whilst Sakura took the opportunity to give him a hug, or a headlock, depending on which way you see it. Naruto can't tell. He's seeing stars at the moment. Saw Sakura. Chan, air. Oh, oops, I didn't do that on purpose. Sakura smirked deviously. Ino grinned. Oh sure, we didn't. Naruto sighed, before giving them his foxy grin. Sorry for worrying you guys, but I'm here, and I'll be damned if I let you down. Cheer for me. And with that, he walked into the exam room, with a somewhat angry Mizuki. The girls shook their heads in exasperation. Their gift to Naruto had been quite unique. Ino bopped him on the head, Sakura shook her head before giving him a small kiss on the cheek, and they had both smiled and wished him the best of luck. Kiba was crying by now. It just isn't fair. He was manlier, he was stronger, and he was more handsome, so why was he being treated like this? Naruto was the cause of their anger, yet, here he was, being beaten within an inch of his life, yet Naruto was let off with a simple headlock, a bop on the head, and a kiss. Life. Shikamaru laughed as did the whole class, whereas Sasuke just muttered, "Dobi," under his breath. Shino chuckled, as did Hinata before she quickly went over to Sakura and Ino and began to chat like they always do. They had become very good friends, with Sakura and Ino acting as big sisters to Hanabi as well. They had fallen in love with the girl, or so Naruto said, when they met Hanabi. She was so cute. Hinata chuckled at the memory. Hanabi was glomped over and over. But still, she liked Naruto Ni-chan the best, and Naruto knew it. He deserved it really. Naruto had protected Hanabi ever since she was allowed to go for walks out of the manor. He was sort of the overprotective big brother. Now, Konohamaru was Naruto's friend, and sort of a younger brother. And no matter what pranks he pulled, Naruto wouldn't mind, but when that prank seems to involve a certain brunette with white eyes, namely Hyuga Hanabi, oh boy, Konohamaru was scared out of his mind. He had never seen Naruto that angry. Well, granted, he had rarely seen Naruto angry, but hey, just a description. Anyways, he had thought Naruto would find it funny if the little girl somehow tripped and fell. So he did some stuff and yeah. Naruto had smacked him hard on the head and roared on about how he had the guts to bully his baby sister. Konohamaru almost wanted to wring her neck when she saw the devious smile she had on her face. Keyword: almost. She was so cute that Konohamaru forgave her in a second. Naruto didn't though. That proved to be a problem. For a while, every time Konohamaru met Hanabi, he would rub his head subconsciously. Wonder why. Sakura and Ino had a lot of cat whistles and stuff coming to them for a long while. It's undeniable. They are the two prettiest girls in the academy. Sakura was a very diligent student, not to mention that she was extremely polite and friendly. The teachers love her and of course, the whole class loves her. Why? She bumps their average up by at least 5% every test. Now that's saying something. Ino was known to be the gentle caring type, though Naruto had begged to differ, and got smashed into a wall, seeing how her hands were able to assist the growth of any flower in Konoha. Her smile was cute. It's neither a sexy leer like Anko, nor a beautiful, genuine smile like Sakura. Just mischievously cute. Naruto knew what that smile meant more than anyone else. It was Ino's signature smile for, if you play nice, I'll love you. If you don't, and we leave it there. So you see, there's a reason why no one makes a comment about the kisses given to Naruto. More like no one dares to make one. Besides, it's a pretty common scene anyway, everyone just treated this as a means of friendship. Sure, the rest of the fangirls don't care about what happens to Naruto, but hey, the smart boys from other classes do. Many had tried to win the hand of the two girls by challenging Naruto. Sadly, none survived. They were utterly humiliated by Naruto, who had no idea what was going on. It sort of went like this. Uzumaki, I hereby challenge you for the love of that beautiful cherry blossom. Naruto's sweat dropped. Okay, so, what exactly is this about? Why, what a youthful question. I shall fight for the love of my life. Sakura-san. Such a cool response. As expected from someone so close to Sakura-san. Okay. Not understanding what the hell you're talking about, but it seems as though you are getting the wrong idea. No, impossible. Are you denying me the honor of fighting for my love? Shut up. Sakura-chan is not an object. At that, the boy stopped. His eyebrows raised in confusion. Naruto took a deep breath, his eyes narrowing. I don't know what your intentions are with Sakura, or what this love thing you keep calling is about, but I warn you now. He took a step forward and cracked his knuckles. You dare treat Sakura as an object merely to serve your existence, and I'll beat you up so bad that you'll never become a ninja. How dare you even insinuate such a thing? The boy's mouth dropped open, he gaped for a while, before bowing to Naruto. I understand. My apologies. I have been beaten and totally overthrown by your youthfulness. I sincerely apologize for what I said. Until next time we meet, Naruto-kun. I deem you my most worthy rival. And with that the boy left. Naruto didn't know, but at that time, Sakura and her mother, Nayuki, were next door, waiting to meet Iruka to get her prize for being an outstanding student. Every single word Naruto said was heard loud and clear. Nayuki smiled warmly at the boy as Sakura rushed to embrace him, thanking him for acting like a baka. Naruto laughed and scratched his head, saying that he really had no idea what that boy meant. Well, who could blame him? He was 9. But Sakura had remembered it till this day, and she really thanked Naruto for it. It was sort of what she had dreamed of, someone to protect her, someone like a prince. Well, Naruto wasn't exactly a prince on first look, but hey, details, who needs them? Sakura had asked what the boy looked like so she could actually see what this youthful suitor of hers looked like. Naruto had raised an eyebrow and said, I don't think you would like him, Sakura-chan. Honestly, you would get freaked out by his posture, not to mention those eyebrows, I swear they're evil. And Sakura had left it at that. And of course, while she had her suitors, Ino had her fair share as well. Hers had been less eventful, mainly due to the fact that while Sakura retained her image as a nice and shy sort of girl, Ino had been a tigress, literally. Anyone that dared so much as flirt with her, well, let's just say that they learned to fear a kunoichi very quickly. One guy had the guts to yell out in front of the whole class how he was such an amazingly handsome dude, that Ino should just beg for him to be with her. Ino had an answer to that. Hello mister, meet your new friend. And she had shoved her foot right at his crotch, a large splatter sound could be heard, and Ino had HMPH'd and left the room, all the while muttering about senile guys. She had even said thank you to Naruto, who was just about to bash the guy for even daring to suggest his superiority to females. Note: Naruto had his mouth wide open. Needless to say, the guy ended up in ICU for 3 days. The class never saw him since. He changed to another class and wouldn't even come within 20 meters of Ino. Yukiko had laughed when Naruto had told her what happened. The look on his face was adorable. He was angry and he was wincing, most likely thinking of how hard Ino must have kicked. Shudder. Yep. Those were the good times, Hinata chuckled. In the exam room. Okay. Naruto, for the first task, perform a henge no jutsu please. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, I rushed all the way here, for this damn exam, to do a henge, woohoo, I so have a life. But nonetheless, he muttered, henge. And in a burst of smoke, transformed into a perfect Iruka. Iruka nodded and said, well, next perform a standard Kawarimi no Jutsu, replacement technique, with anything in this room. Naruto raised an eyebrow, anything. Mizuki growled, just do it brat. Stop wasting our time. Naruto shrugged, fine. With that, he formed the seals and in a second, he swapped places with Mizuki's watch, meaning. Ouch. Oh, oops, I was going to swap with you sensei, guess I missed. Replied Naruto nonchalantly. Iruka did his best to suppress his chuckle as Mizuki cursed under his breath. He knew Naruto had done it on purpose, but to be able to swap places with such a small thing, now that required at least high Chunin level chakra control. Many though Kawarimi to be basic, and deemed it useless, but smart guys like Naruto would take advantage of that. If Naruto had a kunai, things just keep getting better. Now, for the final part of the exam, Naruto, perform 3 functioning bunshins please. Naruto grinned and said, Bunshin no jutsu. And in an instant, 5 bunshins phased into existence. No smoke, meaning no wastage of chakra, excellent. Iruka gave a nod of approval, well done Naruto. Here is your Hitai-8 headband with the leaf symbol on it. Congratulations on becoming a genin. Naruto gave one of his rare smiles, arigato ne, Iruka-sensei. And with that, he walked out of the class, leaving a very happy Iruka and a very pissed Mizuki back in the exam room. Naruto saw that everyone was gone by now, and only Sakura and Ino were left. Naruto blinked and looked at the clock. It was already 10:30. Looks like he actually spent quite some time in there. Naruto, instead of tying his Hitai-8 onto his head, fastened it onto his left arm and gave a foxy grin towards the girls. Both laughed at his childish antics and congratulated him. Good to see you passed, Naru-kun. We knew you could, but that laziness might just be a problem. Ino smirked. Naruto grasped his heart in mock sadness. My, Ino-chan, I'm depressed that you would think so lowly of me. Sakura giggled and gave a wink at Ino. Come on Naruto. We're treating you to Ichiraku ramen. Naruto blinked. No. No way, did I hear? He gulped. Sakura, did you just say? Ino gave a maniacal grin. Indeed, all you can eat Ichiraku ramen coupon is all we need. And frankly, at the moment, it's all we have. So live with it. Naruto's eyes turned to stars as he yelped in joy and pulled both girls in for a big hug. Thanks. Wow. Never thought I would see the day that you two actually encouraged me to eat at Ichiraku. True, true, even though it tastes good, it is junk food, but special occasions do have their benefits. Naruto grinned, before frowning slightly. Nay, Sakura-chan, could I hold this offer until tomorrow? I got some things that I need to sort out today. Gomen. Sakura raised an eyebrow. Huh. But Naruto was already out of the room. See ya guys tomorrow. Sorry I couldn't walk you guys home. Ino blinked. Did he just? Sakura gave a hesitant nod. I think he did. In unison, they cried, oh my god, Naruto rejected ramen. And if one listened closely enough, they would have heard the voice somewhere outside the academy. No, I didn't. At the Hokage's office. Nay, Izumi-san, can I see Hokage Jizen for a sec? There's some things I need to discuss with him. Sure thing, Naruto-kun. Naruto gave a smile and quickly entered the office, his face rid of all playfulness. Time to get serious. Hokage Jizen, something's not right with Mizuki. I'm sure Kareki Ne-chan has reported that to you this morning. Sarutobi sighed. Yes indeed, but I still find it hard to believe that he would have the guts to do something disastrous. He can't possibly succeed. Ji-san, the scroll of forbidden techniques isn't exactly well hidden, anyway, so he could just distract you with an Ika Ika Paradise book and get on with his job. I'm sure someone else is behind this, and I can only think of one person. A certain vile, hubby Yaro, snake bastard. Sarutobi thought for a moment, before nodding. Okay, I'll let you handle this one like Kareki requested, but Naruto, do be careful. Naruto laughed. Come on Jizen. I was the one to find out about his plot. Give me some credit will ya? Indeed, Naruto had become suspicious of Mizuki ever since that time he overheard him talking about forbidden techniques and scrolls and stuff in the forests. He had made a Kage Bunshin to follow him and had found out about his plan. That was 2 months ago. It originally consisted of Naruto failing his Genin exam and Mizuki convincing him to steal the scroll of forbidden jutsus. The nerve, and Naruto had informed the Hokage straight away. So all he had to do now. He smirked. Nay, Hokage Jizen. Plan A is now in action. Sarutobi blinked. Huh. Naruto formed the ram seal quickly and yelled, Waroke number jutsu. Perverted jutsu, and in a poof of smoke, a sensual blonde girl with her hair tied up in a long ponytail was standing there, in all her glory, with smoke intentionally covering the major parts of the female body, leaving lots of room for all kinds of information. Onegai, Hokage-sama. The female gently nibbled on her forefinger and stared with her beautiful cerulean eyes at the Hokage, suggesting some very intimate actions. The result was instantaneous. Due to the sheer power of the technique against perverts, Sarutobi was flung back from the huge amount of blood loss through his nostrils and was currently rendered unconscious on the ground, twitching. A poof of smoke was seen and instantly, Naruto appeared again, shaking his head. Man, Oji-san, you honestly have to control yourself, stop being such a pervert. And sighing, he made his way to the shelf and muttering a quiet Kai, he dispelled the genjutsu and grabbed the forbidden scroll, and tying it onto his back, he whispered, Genjutsu, Akaraka Jisaki. Clear trace, and within seconds, he became invisible, then quiet as a cat, he leapt out of the office windows, and dashed off towards the forests. 5 hours later. Hokage-sama, is it true? Did Naruto really steal the scroll of forbidden techniques? Iruka blurted out as he dashed into the office. Mizuki was following him thinking, God damn it, that stupid brat, why did he have to complicate things? Sarutobi gave a grave nod, though inside, he was cursing like mad at Naruto for pulling that jutsu off. Iruka, Mizuki, search for him alongside the other ninjas of Dispatched. Now go, and bring him back alive. Hi, and they're off. Sarutobi grumbled as he took out his crystal ball and began to watch the whole event unfold itself. In the forest. Phew. Now that was totally worth learning. He had already mastered Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, so he figured that he could use some more jutsus, and since he was going to capture Mizuki anyway, why not learn a few first? And so he had opened the scroll, and flipped past Kage Bunshin. The next jutsus, however, caught his eye. It was Taju Kage Bunshi no Jutsu, Mass Shadow Clone's technique, and Bunshin Daibakua Clone Explosion, and he was almost giddy with joy at that. Imagine the pranks, now, no time to be thinking about that, and so, he had set off to practice it. He mastered it within an hour, and seeing how Mizuki probably still has yet to arrive, he flipped further through the scroll. Mokuden. Wood element, huh? Is there even such an element? Kit, that element has been extinct for at least 40 years, your Shidaime Hokage was the only one in this village to be able to use it. Really? Whoa, so, can I learn it? Actually, you just might be able to do it. Okay, give it a try. Concentrate on your water and ground chakra natures, clear your mind of all the other ones. But that's too hard. Just do it. Fine. There. Done. Now, focus water onto your left hand, ground onto your right. Picture it. Feel it within you, the chakra movement. The growth of life. And, once you get the flow, combine the two forces and see what happens. Really? Sounds a bit too easy though. If it wasn't for my affinities to all elements, you reckon you could even learn this? Alright, calm down, okay, here we go. And he slapped both palms together, and placed them onto the ground in one swift motion, Ki Seitan no Jutsu. Tree birth technique. If he did it right, a humongous tree would appear in front of him, just about now. Even Kyuubi was at a loss for words. Kit, you're pathetic. On the ground in front of them, was a very small seedling. Like 2 centimeters tops. That's small. What the bloody hell? I told you to concentrate. I did. Lies. Did you feel the life essence stir within you? Did you feel it? Sigh. I thought so. Ah well, might as well copy the jutsus down and try them later on. At least you proved that you can control the element, even if that was a totally dismal attempt. Hey, I tried, but it just feels awkward. Like a part of me wants to leave and I'm not too sure about that. I see. Well, we'll discuss this later. Now focus and train. That traitor should come soon. And so, Naruto had trained, and it was 7 in the evening already, when finally, a rustle of leaves was heard and Iruka appeared in front of Naruto. Naruto, what were you thinking? How dare you? Naruto yawned and grinned. Nay, Iruka-sensei, I only learned 2 jutsus while I was here, what's the matter? Iruka's sweat dropped. Do you know what scroll that is? Nope, but it had loads of jutsus, so I thought might as well. Naruto was enjoying every minute of this. The flabbergasted look on Iruka's face was just too much. You were training. Duh. Naruto rolled his eyes. He was getting impatient. Surely, yep, he's here. Just then, a huge shuriken flew into view, almost cutting Iruka in half had it not been for his quick reflexes. Naruto narrowed his eyes and dodged it as well. Who's there? Even though he knew perfectly well who that was. My, why did you have to be so damn bothersome? Now hand over the scroll Gaki. Or die a painful death. I haven't got time to play with a demon. Cussed Mizuki as he looked down arrogantly at Naruto and Iruka. Iruka was shocked. What is the meaning of this, Mizuki? The Hokage specifically told us to. Do you even think I actually care about what that old geezer says? This kid is the Kyuubi. The demon reincarnate. You expect me to trust this little bastard? That's right, kid. You're the one that at all those villagers 12 years ago. How'd y'all like that, huh? The whole village despises you, but that's not the point. Now hand over that scroll, I've got a deadline to meet. Naruto growled as his suspicions turned true, but he knew he needed to play his part. I have Kyuubi in me. His face twisted into some sort of painful expression, like he was constipated or hem, but, nonetheless. HMPH, the Yondaime sealed it within you, you damn fox. Now hurry up and do as I say, before you. Iruka roared in anger at his tone. Mizuki. I will not allow you to insult my student. He is an honorable genin of Konohagakure. He will become the future Hokage. Mizuki. Due to your outrageous attempts at stealing the scroll of forbidden techniques and the breaking of Sandame's law, I, Yumino Iruka, Chunin of Konohagakure, hereby arrest you. Mizuki merely scoffed at that comment and laughed. You actually think you can beat me? With this power, I am invincible. And with each word, he began to transform, slowly into the body of a tiger humanoid. He grew fangs and claws, his whole body increased in size, his muscles grew larger, and his legs became longer. He now stood at a height of 2 meters, towering above Iruka and Naruto. Iruka gasped in shock at that. Mizuki. Ha ha ha, this is the power of Orochimaru-sama. If I get him the scroll of forbidden techniques, I'll get more power. Now die, you pathetic worms. And with speed he had never shown before, he appeared right beside Iruka and smashed him right through a tree, knocking Iruka unconscious. Naruto snarled at that, as Mizuki smirked, turning to him. What are you going to do, you demon? Give me the scroll. HMPH, over my dead body. That can be arranged. And Mizuki charged, punching at totally random intervals, bashing up everything in his path. Naruto flung the scroll onto a tree trunk before concentrating. His chakra flared and got into his Ryudo Gensu stance, flowing illusions. He shouted, take this. All I need is the basics and I can destroy you. Heiase. Hirameki Nijugo Sho. Swift Current. 25 Flash Palms. And fully utilizing his original technique, Shunpo, Flash Steps, he dashed in a circle around Mizuki, before landing multiple blows, one stronger than the other. Knocking him into the air, Naruto kneed him in the chin, before disappearing and ramming his fist into his back. Basically, the muscles protecting the main organs were heavily barraged upon, and after forming a huge combo, Naruto ended it with a hard punch right in the guts, sending Mizuki flying into the ground. Naruto cracked his knuckles. How'd y'all like that? Mizuki coughed out blood, trying to get the nausea out of his brain. It wasn't just physical damage, the spins and the chakra blows hurt like hell, but his mind was all fuzzy, he lost all focus, feeling the urge to puke. Now, who's the man? Tajuu Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. And in an instant, 200 clones appeared beside them. Haha, someone's dizzy Beat the bastard up. Hell yeah. Needless to say, the whole village heard a very chilling, no. As the clones did their job. Half an hour later, Sarutobi burst out laughing at the figure that was supposed to be Mizuki. Naruto had used extra strength and made sure that bastard felt every single hit. Ah, that was some good stress relief. Naruto, scroll, Kureki ne-chan. Kureki was standing there, expressionless, hands stretched out, waiting for him to hand it over. Naruto had a bad feeling about this, especially the glint within Sandame's eyes. Oh, and so Naruto handed it over. Smash. How dare you use that jutsu again? How many times have I told you not to do that? Kureki hollered as she continuously smacked Naruto with the huge scroll. I told you a million times, but you never listened to you. How dare you defile the women's pride? Shit. She's really angry. Sarutobi's sweat dropped. He had never thought it was this serious. Wait, is she looking at him? Kureki was glaring at him. God help him. He whimpered and hid behind his desk. Hokage-sama, I can't believe that you. Erhem. Right, Kureki, please leave it at that, and take young Naruto home. I'm sure he's exhausted. Now, I've some things I need to do, bye. And with a quick shunshin, he ran for his life. Kureki then giggled and laughed full volume. Naruto quickly got up, and gave her a high five, told ya it would work. Kureki ruffled his hair, earning a grunt of protest. My, looks like we did scare off Hokage-sama ne, did I hurt you? Naruto rolled his eyes, of course. What am I made of? Steel. Kureki grinned and said, well, mission accomplished. Shall we? And with a huge nod, Naruto walked out onto the streets, genuinely happy that he had been able to finish this B-rank mission. Damn, I missed that ramen feast. Kureki sighed in amusement at the immaturity of Naruto when it comes to food, but as she smiled at the beautiful night scenery Konoha was offering. Minato ni-chan, he's growing, gradually yes, but I'm sure that one day, he will indeed surpass you. Uaaaaggghhhh, yawned Naruto as he laid his head down once again on his desk. This was taking way too long. Iruka had gone off to get the list of teams, and he was away for half an hour already. The mission yesterday was quite a drag, and Kyuubi had been annoying. He was constantly being berated for not being able to produce a decent tree. Naruto had found a way to shut him up basically. He controlled what it looked like in his mind, so right now, Kyuubi was in a huge plain, peaceful and quiet. Naruto didn't want to do this, but he had no choice, so he had added a single entity into his mind realm. The fact that Kyuubi was actually howling in fear made Naruto's day. After all, that particular entity was the most frightening thing Naruto had ever come across. Sakura and Ino were worried about him, seeing his exhausted figure, but he had reassured them that he was alright. They were both skeptical, but left it at that. Kiba and the others too tried to find out what could possibly get the most energetic blonde into his current state. Sadly, all failed, seeing Naruto's attention span was really short right now. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Iruka finally returned back to class, a wide smile evident on his face. He motioned for everyone to sit down, which earned quite a few questioning looks, seeing how usually, he would just yell out, "Shut up," or something like that. He cleared his throat, and after getting everyone's attention, minus a certain blonde, he began, "Now, I am very proud to announce that this year has been extremely successful, and you lot has been, by far, the only batch with a 100% pass rate. I have confidence in you. I hate to tell you this, but the world for a shinobi is totally different from whatever you experience in class. The world out there basically follows one rule: the strong live, the weak fail. It's as simple as that." Iruka paused, seeing the horrified looks on some naive ones, and amused looks on others, specifically Uzumaki. Now, here is where we reach a dilemma. What is the meaning of strong? What is true strength? That is the question I want all of you to keep in mind. Maybe, to each of us, strength would come from different sources, for different reasons, yet the sole purpose of being strong should never change. We are shinobi of Konohagakure, We are sworn to protect our village and its honor at all costs. That is a fact, but the ways and reasons for doing it must be pure. By now, everyone was starting to get freaked out. Where the hell was their lousy random speaking sensei? He was supposed to just give them a long bloody boring speech about how they passed and give out the teams. Not to scare the heck out of them. I know how you feel. I was in your place, thinking about this same question as well. What is true strength? Remember that, and hopefully, that should act as a guide for you. Now, I'm sure everyone must be dying to know their teams after what I said, so let's start off. As you all know, Genin teams are made up of 3 Genins and a Junin sensei. So here we go, Team 1. And so, on and on it went. Sakura notably raised an eyebrow as none of her intimate friends had been called yet. Naruto sighed, and looked at Ino and Sakura with something like an apology. Gomen, if I had tried harder, the chance of us getting paired up may have been higher. Ino merely shook her head in exasperation and gave a smile. Well, we'll just hope for the best then. And just then, Iruka announced, Team 6, handpicked by the Hokage himself, with Tokubetsu Special, Junin Mitarashi Anko assigned as the Junin sensei. He paused for a moment, noticing the rise he got out of the remaining Genins. Naruto snorted, thinking, whoever got her as the teacher is royally screwed. So, here we go. Team 6 consists of Haruno Sakura. Sakura's head drooped as she repeatedly slapped herself lightly on the forehead, as though that would make the bad news go away. Ino grinned, tough luck. Yamanaka Ino, came Iruka's very amused voice. The whole class began laughing as Ino's jaw smashed onto the ground, unable to believe that she was experiencing such horror. Naruto sighed, before raising an eyebrow, wondering who the hell would be the unlucky third member. Sure, he had said that he would have loved to be with Sakura and Ino as a team, seeing how their teamwork ruled everyone else in class, but seeing how the sensei was Anko of all people, he decided that he would rather face the girl's wrath instead of the sadistic bitch. So, who could it be? Hope it's Kiba, then he'll get his handed to him over and over. Maybe Shikamaru, indeed, they would work well, Shino. Nah, not possible. Mr. Almighty Uchiha Imo, maybe, hope not, he's got enough fangirls, and boys, let's just not go there. Choji's too nice, so no, any other males I should take into consideration. And finally, we have Uzumaki Naruto. As if on cue, the whole class roared with laughter. Kiba was banging his fists on the table, hollering about Naruto's misfortune. Even Shino was enjoying a good chuckle. The worst was Naruto. His eyes basically flew out of their sockets at that, with Sakura and Ino sniggering and muttering about how he had been unable to escape the claws of fate. This isn't funny. You better tell me you're joking. Snarled Naruto as the whole class laughed even harder. Iruka barely suppressed his chuckle as he explained, Nope, it says here, Hokage recommendations, Team 6, Haruno Sakura, Yamanaka Ino, Uzumaki Naruto, Junin Sensei, Mitarashi Anko, there you have it. But that's, fine, Naruto slumped onto the table in defeat. Damn the stupid old man for doing this to him, he was sure it was payback for the prank he did yesterday. Iruka waited for the class to settle down before continuing, alright, Team 7, Uchiha Sasuke, Inuzuka Kiba, Akamichi Choji. Junin Sensei, Hatake Kakashi. At that, Kiba sighed out loud, clutching his heart dramatically and laid his hand on Choji's shoulder, oh why? What did I do to deserve this? Of all the people, why am I teamed up with Emo Pants? The boys in the class, especially Naruto, roared with laughter at that one. The girls, well, other than Sakura, Ino and Hinata, were basically oozing intent. Choji chuckled at the murderous look on Sasuke's face, knowing that things were really going to get interesting from now on. And now, we have Team 8, consisting of Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, Nara Shikamaru, Junin Sensei, Yuhi Kurenai. Shino merely nodded, clearly pleased that he was on the same team with two friends. Hinata merely smiled meekly at the other two, whereas Shikamaru seemed very relaxed. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Shikamaru. No, troublesome, comment. Shikamaru smirked. Now Naruto, I think I'll let you have that today. Seeing how Hinata is basically the only normal girl in this class, and she's on my team, while you've got two unique girls in yours, with a sadistic female sensei, I would say you need it more than me. Ino's eyes narrowed dangerously, her voice sweet and nice. What was that, Shikamaru? Didn't quite catch it. Shikamaru rolled his eyes. Nothing that you should know, which is practically everything. I heard that. Meh. Too bad, I guess. And before Ino could charge over and mutilate Shikamaru, Iruka closed his roll book and smiled. Well, the Junin senseis should be coming soon. I wish you all the best for your futures. Make sure you live up to the honor of being a Konoha shinobi, you hear that? Hi, sensei. Good. I have something I need to do now, so bye. And Iruka quickly rushed out of the classroom, leaving Naruto and the others a tad bit suspicious. Nay, Naru-kun, you don't think? No way. Naruto's eyes widened, and not a moment later, the classroom door slammed open, and in came a brunette with short, crispy purple hair tied up by her headband. She was wearing a trench coat over her usual attire of fishnet blouse thingy. I sincerely apologize to all my readers, because I cannot, for the love of me, describe a person's attire properly, so please, bear with me for the moment. Lol. With a short mini skirt. Her crazy grin was still there, as if mocking the genins right in front of her. She had air body, if you look at the expressions on Kiba's face. Indeed, her curves were very alluring, and to say that Ino was jealous would be an understatement. Hell, even Sasuke blushed at her figure. The only person unaffected by her appearance was Naruto, seeing how he was totally used to her unpredictable actions and seeing how he was not a pervert, he naturally scowled at her. He had always told her that she wore too little. Alas, it always falls on deaf ears, but she did tease him a bit. Now, where is my favorite blonde? All of a sudden, many beams of glares were aimed at Naruto, seeing how he was the only male blonde in class. Naruto's sweat dropped at Kiba's agitated posture and gave a sigh of exasperation. Oi, Anko-chan, cut the crap. Where do we meet? Anko pouted. Ah, you ruined it. Alright, the usual place, you know where that is. Come on, we don't have all day. And mind you, little brats, she turned to the other genins and her eyes narrowed dangerously, that familiar maniacal glint appearing behind those orbs. If I ever find any of you undressing a girl with your eyes again, a kunai appeared in her hand, I'll make sure a very important part of your anatomy is severed, without question. That being said, she poofed out of the class in a cloud of smoke, leaving a totally terrified class behind. Naruto chuckled, then looked over at Sakura and Ino. Come on, let's get going, we don't want her to us now, do we? Sakura gulped and Ino shivered a little. Obviously, events of their last training session continues to linger in their minds. Naruto grinned. It'll be fine, knowing Anko, I can tell she's happy. I reckon this is the first time she's ever led a team, let alone a team she trusts and loves. Now let's get there and show her what we got. Right. Instantly, the pressure was off. Sakura and Ino couldn't help but smile at his grin. Right. Confidence seems to have come back, and now that they think about it, Anko was really a very nice person, if you exclude the sadistic part, and the maniacal part, and the arrogance, yeah. Shaking her thoughts, Sakura wondered, nay, Naruto. The usual is in the training grounds. Or her favorite hangout spot. Naruto grinned, Sakura-chan, isn't it obvious? She likes dango, I like ramen, where do you think we can get those? Later. Yo, nice to see that you guys were on time. Cheered Anko as she took another bite from her dango stick. Naruto shook his head as he yelled, Oji-san. 2 miso ramen please. Sure thing. Of all the places, why Ichiraku ramen? I'm thinking that question is basically rhetorical. Anko pouted, oh come on. I was hungry. Everyone's sweat dropped, that's it. Anko grinned, besides, where better to start off introducing ourselves? So, come on, tell me about your dislikes, likes, hobbies, goals, etc. Come on Pinky, let's go. Sakura twitched a little at her new nickname, but nonetheless, she began, my name is Haruno Sakura, I like my best friends Ino and Naruto and reading novels and well, just hanging out. I dislike perverts and anything perverted. That includes Naruto's Waroke no Jutsu. She ignored Naruto's retort, hey. I'll have you know that is very useful. She continued, my goals, well, I would want to become a strong kunoichi, probably a medic nin as I progress. Anko nodded, okay, you're next piggy. A vein popped out of her forehead at that, but Ino calmed herself, name's Yamanaka Ino. I like gardening, tending to flowers, hanging out with my best friends Sakura and Naruto, basically, I love flowers. I dislike people who disrespect my friends and those who think they're almighty just because they're male. My goal, maybe something in the interrogation department would be suitable, seeing how my mind jutsus would work very well. Anko was almost giddy with joy at that statement, you go girl. We were just looking for some more recruits, and I'll be damned if I cannot train you to become better than me in that department. All right, finally, our lovable brat. Thanks, answered Naruto dryly as he sighed, well, you all know me. Uzumaki Naruto is the name. Likes, ramen, Sakura-chan and Ino-chan, training, coming up with new jutsus, Anko-chan, Kareki-chan, Hokage Jizan. Dislikes, perverts, and their stupid perverted novels. Goal, to become the greatest Hokage this village has ever seen. Oh, is that so? We'll see if you can live up to that. She took out her purse and placed some money on the counter, Tuki-san. Can I get 10 sticks of dango with me to take away? In a sec. Yelled the old man from the kitchen, busy preparing the food. Alright, you guys, head towards training grounds 43 right now, I'll be there soon, time for the real genin test. Ha 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 ha. For some reason, that laugh just sent chills down their spines. At training grounds 43. Nay, Naruto, what do you think she meant by the real genin exam? Sakura asked. Naruto shrugged, probably some tests used to cut down the incompetent genins that passed the academy. Remember how Iruka-sensei told us that the skills we need in the academy and out here are totally different? Well, I'm guessing that we're now going to be tested on that, something different. Well done Naru-chan, grinned Anko as she appeared in a swirl of leaves. Ino raised an eyebrow, clearly explain it please. Anko suddenly grew serious, her face abandoning her usual cheerful expression. The genin exam in the academy was just to see if you guys qualify to be a genin. Whether you actually succeed depends on us Junin senseis. And to tell you guys the truth, the pass rate is pretty low, only 1/3 of all the students can pass. That's a 67% fail rate for ya. 67. That's just. Anko nodded. Each Junin sensei has their own tests to deem if their team is up to standard, and now, welcome to your very own Genin Shiken exam. Objective of this exam, find me and attempt to disable me before I finish my dango. That would be about half an hour. Good luck. Oh, and don't forget to come at me with the intent to. And with that, she grinned, and disappeared into the forest. Sakura and Ino immediately readied themselves, getting into their stances, whereas Naruto frowned. Sakura, Ino, it's not that simple. Both girls looked at him, curious. They could tell he was totally serious, judging from the way he left out the Chan suffix. This is training ground 43, the one beside the dreaded 44. Although slightly safer, we can't rule out the possibilities of traps. Besides, think about it, we're Genin hopefuls, she's a Tokubetsu Junin, skill difference is quite big, surely she doesn't expect us to win. A look of realization dawned on Sakura, teamwork. Ino snapped her fingers, I get it. When she told us to rush at her with the intent to, it was merely to get us sidetracked and lose focus. Naruto grinned, exactly. Now, we know she has 10 dango sticks. She says it's going to take half an hour. What do you girls say we, I don't know, make that into 2 hours? The smirk on his face was hard to miss and slowly, but surely the girls understood his plan, and without a word, that dashed off to their relative positions. After all, they had trained together for so long, one word from each other and they would know how to act straight away. Anko knew their strengths, yes, but would she expect them to fully utilize their skills and use teamwork to give them the final boost? That is what Team 6 is betting on. With Anko in the forest. Already on my second and still no movement, what are those brats doing? Slacking. HMPH, I expected better. Wait, she smirked as she spotted a slight pinkish tinge behind one of the trees 10 meters away. Show time. And so, sticking one final dango into her mouth, she threw away the stick and dashed towards her target. Secretly she thought 1 down, 2 to go. But then, gotcha. Kaden. Shakakyu. Fire element. Crimson fire ball. Anko cussed as an orb of fire hit her right on, activating the kawarimi she had placed on herself ages ago. Now Naru-chan, what did I teach you about patience? Naruto growled and formed another series of seals quickly. Ah, but did you know I could do this? Doden. Doryu Taiga. Earth element. Earth dragon mudflow. A stream of mud rushed at Anko, forcing her to dodge it. Damn, when did this kid learn an earth-type jutsu? AB rank 1 no less. However, her face remained neutral as she yelled out, Seniyashu. Multiple snakes shadow hands, and right on cue, several snakes burst out of her sleeve and coiled up around Naruto firmly, preventing him from moving. Anko looked disappointed. My, you've certainly become weaker. Looks like you failed this time. Naruto merely scowled before giving a grin, ya think? And with a poof, he erupted in a cloud of smoke. Anko's eyes widened. Kage Bunshin. Shit. And indeed, Ino was already on it. Ninpo, Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Ninja arts. Multiple shuriken clones technique, and a whole horde of shurikens flew at Anko, forcing her to evade and land on the right-hand side. Good, but not good enough. Futen. Daidappa. Wind element. Great breakthrough, and with a huge gust of wind, she blew away all the shuriken, neutralizing the threat, or so she thought. Sakura had appeared at that moment. Having jumped into the sky, she had yelled, Rankyaku, Torasum. Storm leg. Tiger claw, and with a war cry, she smashed her leg into the spot where Anko had been just a few seconds ago. The attack caused several cracks to appear on the ground, pretty good for someone who just learned it a few months ago. Maybe I shouldn't have asked Guy about that attack. Sakura's taijutsu scrolls came from Guy. Well, she went to ask Anko, and Anko had gone to Guy. But anyway, the taijutsu Sakura was using is called Rankyaku, focusing chakra onto one's feet and leg, causing huge amounts of damage to anything it comes into contact with. However, there's catch. The difference between Goken, hard fist, and Rankyaku is that Goken merely requires one to have large amounts of chakra and channel as much of it into one's limbs as possible. Rankyaku, however, requires extreme chakra control, releasing a precise amount of chakra at that particular moment for it to work. Of course, large chakra reserves are always a plus. Sakura had found it useful, but till now, had only mastered one single attack. It was the easiest for Sakura, seeing how one had to attack from above, and gather speed and chakra as they fell. Her chakra reserves were about average, and so, she relied mainly on control. Her accomplishment on this style is around 0.1%, meaning not a lot at all. Anko was surprised by it, but merely brushed it aside. She would never have expected Naruto to suddenly appear behind her. Akaraka Jisaki, Kai. Clear trace. Release. I'll take those, thank you very much. And to Anko's utmost horror, Naruto had stolen her bag of dango and had dashed off with them, along with Ino and Sakura. Her mouth was gaping, then slowly, the flames within her burned ferociously and she growled, "Get back here, you brats. I'm gonna freaking you." As she charged after them, Naruto gave a nod and stopped halfway, forming his seals, Ryu, Tora, Tori, Ohitsuji, Uma, Habi, Ryu. Alright, check this out. Harg. And once again, that familiar flame engulfed his hand, yet this time, it was blue in color. The flames looked cool and deadly, and slowly, by using form manipulation, he willed the flames into a spiral around his entire right forearm. Anko, having been angered by the loss of her dango to mere brats, ignored the jutsu and charged straight on, thinking how futile that attack would be if it missed. Naruto grinned and yelled, "Amada." Now, Sakura concentrated on her remaining chakra and with all her power, smashed it into a small tree, blasting it towards Anko, giving her quite a shock. She nimbly dodged it, but saw that Naruto was charging towards her, and yelled, "All right, brat. Bring it. This one you should know. Futen. K's no Fukuman. Wind element. Wind veil," and immediately, a whirlwind began to pick up around Anko, forming a roaring shield around her. Naruto concentrated and yelled, "It's over. Ino, you're Q. This is the improved version of my last attack, you're the first to test it, sensei." Seika. Kanrin. Azure flames. Blaze wheel. Grasping his right arm tightly with his left, he dashed straight at Anko's K's no Fukuman and clashed with it right on, the flames dancing against the whirlwind, going with the flow of the wind, and with a huge boom. The fire successfully dispelled the winds with a grinning Naruto looking at a dumbfounded Anko. And right after that, a clear voice rang out, "All right. Ninpo. Shinranshin no Jutsu. Ninja arts. Mind-body disruption technique." The effect was instantaneous. Anko's movement was effectively stopped for the time being and it was all they needed. "We win, sensei," said Sakura as she placed a kunai against Anko's neck, thereby signifying their silent victory. Naruto was panting. Sakura was forcing herself to stay alert, lest something went wrong, and Ino was trying her best to hold the jutsu. Just then, Anko laughed. It wasn't her bone-chilling laugh, nor was it the fake laugh, it was one of pride and joy. "Omera, you guys." She closed her eyes and took in a deep breath. "I can't believe I'm saying this myself, but that was perfect. Sorda Juban da. That is enough." Her eyes were twinkling in excitement as she said the following sentence: "You've shown the capabilities of working as a team, fully utilizing your strengths to cover up your weaknesses, brilliant strategies and much more. I am proud to say that you guys pass." Congratulations. Silence. Then, yada. Woohoo. We pass. Hell yeah. Take that. Guess who? Ino immediately released her jutsu and ran over to hug her sensei along with Sakura, words seemingly useless as they both wanted to thank Anko for helping them before. They finally understood that all the hard work had indeed paid off. Anko laughed along with them before saying, "All right folks. What'd ya say to some nice dango and ramen before you're dismissed?" And amidst the cheers and laughter, little did they know that the strongest Ansatsu Butai assassination unit of all times has been born. Oi, Gaki, I've been wanting to ask, who taught Piggy that ninjutsu? Anko was currently munching her way through her 15th dango stick. Naruto was on his 12th bowl of ramen, and quickly swallowed, before answering, "Duh, I did." Ino bonked on the head and muttered about arrogant male blondes with hard heads. Sakura merely giggled at the all-too familiar scene before them. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clones Technique. B-rank ninjutsu. Now, explain. Naruto gave a shrug. I felt that it fit Ino pretty well. Seeing how her mind was used to controlling stuff, I reckoned that if she had to duplicate something, it could be done pretty well. And just then, she had asked about ninjutsus, so I thought, what the hell, and taught her how to do it. Ino has talent with weapons, I'm sure you know it. Anko raised an eyebrow. Indeed, but hey, Ino, what's with the incompleteness of the jutsu? Ino blushed in embarrassment. I didn't have enough chakra to duplicate it any more than 25 at that time. My maximum was 80, I think. Besides, the point of that attack was to distract you, so I figured that amount was just right. Any more, and my Shinranshin, mind-body disruption, would not have worked. Anko thought for a while. True, but seriously, I had known all along your teamwork was good, but to be able to take it to this extreme, hell, even if I did underestimate you brats, disabling me and humiliating me at the same time was impressive. Naruto gulped down the last of his ramen and glanced suspiciously at Anko. You don't mean to tell me that you're gonna punish us for that, right? Anko narrowed her eyes, her dangerous smile appearing once again. Sakura subconsciously gulped, her muscles tense. Anko noticed it and laughed. Relax, the hardest punishment I'll ever give you guys would just be really hard training. I'm not going to like torture you or anything, I think. Naruto's sweat dropped. Is there even a difference? Anko cheered. Apparently not. And continued munching on her dango. Sakura sighed and asked, "Nay, Anko-sensei, where did you get the taijutsu scroll from? I really want to thank the guy who gave this to me." Instantly, Anko's eyes widened and made a big cross in front of her chest. No. Do not do that. Ever. Sakura raised an eyebrow uneasily, unsure of what the hell is going on. Naruto, however, tilted his head. Don't tell me it was. And after seeing Anko nod furiously, Ino and Naruto both began to shiver. Yeah, Sakura-chan, take her advice, for once she's making a lot of sense. Huh, why? Look, he has the worst fashion sense I've ever seen. He wears green spandex. He has huge eyebrows, and he gives this nice guy pose, and sparkling teeth and all. God, that is horrible. Replied Ino, shuddering at the memory of the green beast of Konoha. Sakura was even more confused. Really? Naruto gave a sigh. Look, Sakura-chan, trust me, if you ever see him, you'll know. His name is Maeda. Anko gave a snort. Yep, tough guy, one of the best taijutsu users to ever be seen in Konoha. Of course, Kureki-chan and her pals are strong as well, but hey, his Goken is damn impressive, I'll give him that much, but honestly, how on earth does he do the genjutsu? Even Kurenai can't dispel it. Naruto and Ino merely chuckled at that. That was the first time they had seen Anko get agitated so quickly. Nay, Sakura-chan, how's the style coming? Sakura gave a slight shrug. As a matter of fact, I'm not too sure myself. I at first thought it was just my chakra capacity for a while, but apparently, I was wrong. It's not just pure power. I don't know what I'm missing. Anko gave a nod. Very well, training tomorrow, same place, 7 a.m. in the morning, sharp. Well, I've got a report to fill in and you guys have to rest. See ya. And with that familiar, poof, she disappeared. Naruto paid for their meals and gave a yawn. Alright, come on, let's get you girls home. Ino pouted. Naru-kun, we're not kids anymore. Naruto stopped for a moment, and looked at Ino, then at Sakura. True, they had grown up, beautifully, and he smiled, thanks back there. Both of you have really grown. I swear, this is my dream team, and I'll be damned if I let you down. Sakura, Ino, thanks for being there for me. To say that Sakura and Ino were surprised by this outburst was an understatement. Sakura swore that Naruto was bipolar. 1 minute he's all happy-go-lucky, the next, he turned serious. But again, he was too caring for his own good, Naruto. How many times do we have to tell you? The feeling is mutual. Got it. Ino grinned before latching herself onto Naruto's back once again. Alright. Since you volunteer to be the gentleman once again, let's go. And amongst the laughter, a busy day slowly comes to an end. Back at Naruto's apartment sometime later. I'm back, called a very tired Naruto. Oh, how was it? How was it? Kureki almost ran him over, trying to get answers from him. Hitomi was visiting along with Hanabi, and sure enough, in an instant, he was tackled onto the ground by a little white blur, Ni-chan. Naruto laughed. I passed. Same team with Sakura and Ino. Sensei's Anko. Kureki ruffled his hair whilst Hitomi hugged him. Good job, Naruto. Hey, I am the best future Hokage you know. Yeah, Ni-chan's the best. Ah, Hanabi-chan. Thank you. Hitomi and Kureki merely laughed at the scene. Those two were just so cute. Anyo, Kasen, how did Hinata-chan do? There's no need to apologize. That baka, well, at least she likes her team, and that's a good thing. Haha. Kiba and Choji weren't that well off though, they got paired up with emo pants. Hitomi raised an eyebrow. Emo pants. Kureki chuckled. He means Sasuke. Naruto nodded furiously. Anyo saw, Kasen, did you know that he had a stick up his butt? Hitomi burst out laughing at that one. Naruto was still managing to keep a straight face, and it was just downright funny. Hanabi blinked. Nay, Ni-chan, you mean he is like Neji? Kureki laughed even harder at that. Naruto gave a huge nod and told Hanabi to stay clear of arrogant fellows like them. However, it soon got late and they had to go home. Ni-chan, come visit us sometime, I miss you, smiled Hanabi as she kissed him on the cheek. Naruto nodded and ruffled her hair gently. I will. But on one condition, promise me that you'll grow up to be a good girl. I will. Glad to hear it. Ya, Kasen, Hanabi-chan, Oyasumi. Good night. Naruto, come here, motioned Hitomi as she hugged Naruto warmly. I'm sure Kureki has told you this before, but you're a genin now, things are going to be much tougher from now on, would you be able to handle it? Naruto grinned, and returned the hug, clearly enjoying it. Kasen, I swear on my name, that no matter what, before I become the Hokage, I definitely will not give up. Hitomi smiled. That's what I like to hear. Good night. Kureki and Naruto waved as Hitomi and Hanabi left. The moon was out tonight. It was a beautiful sight. Naruto-kun, come on, we need to rest up as well. I'll be leaving for a while. I need to find someone, she'll help in your training as well. Definitely. Huh, what? But, for how long? I don't know, could be a few days, could be a few months. But, I'll try and be back before the Chunin exams. But why all of a sudden? Hokage-sama wanted her back. Right now, Konoha is at its weakest, with most of our strongest shinobis are missing in action. We really need all the help we can get. Just putting all the burden on people like Kakashi or Genma isn't going to work. I see. Well, can you at least tell me who she is? Ah, I wanted it for a surprise, but I reckon you can know something about her. She is one of the Shifuke, 4 guardians, they all call her. Hikari no Suzaku, Phoenix of Light. Oh, Nei-chan, what are you known as? I mean, all of you have such cool names. How come? Haha. Naruto-kun, those are names given to us in honor of our skills. I'm known as Yuki no Byako, Tigress of Snow. Nay, Kareki Nei-chan, what does she look like? Oh, just like your typical Uchiha, but well, the greatest difference is that her hair is light brown, long and flowing. I've always envied her for her exquisite treatment of her hair. Naruto blinked. Oh, I see, Uchiha with light brown hair, Uchiha. Kareki gave a sly smirk. Oops, looks like I spoke too much. What the hell? Aren't all Uchihas in the Uchiha massacre? I thought Sasuke was the only survivor. Kareki merely stared at her nails, admiring them. Ah, true, but who said she was in the village when that happened? Ha, well, at least my nails are prettier. Naruto's sweat dropped at that. Nei-chan. Kareki ruffled his hair in reply, causing him to growl. Well, you can ask her about everything when I come back with her, but for now, we need to get you to bed, Naru-chan. And sure enough, a loud yell was heard from the apartment, causing a certain purple-haired Junin to grin uncontrollably. Don't call me that. Back at the Hokage's office. Ah, Anko, how did your team go? Did they pass? Yes, Hokage-sama, they did exceptionally well. Only took them 15 minutes or so. Really? Whoa, that's a feat. Murmured Asuma as he entered the room. Yo, Anko. Yosh. The flames of youth burn brightly this year as well. Yelled Guy as he, poof-ed, into the room. Well, looks like we've got a strong batch these year. I mean, even Kakashi passed his team, even if it was by a small margin. Kurenai was right behind him and waved at Anko. Anko raised an eyebrow. Mr. Pervert passed his team. Now that's a surprise. Ma, I can't believe it myself actually. Muttered the famed copy ninja as he walked into the room, reading his beloved latest edition of Ika Ika Paradise. Anko growled, I swear, if you dare read that in front of me, I'll castrate you. Kakashi sighed, before putting his book away reluctantly. Some people just don't understand art. Even Kurenai twitched at this. So, Anko, tell us about it. Uzumaki Naruto showed clear understanding of the test. He realized that teamwork was the way to go straight away. He planned ahead, using the team's strengths to the extreme and in the end, managed to catch me off guard. His taijutsu and ninjutsu were excellent. His genjutsu, though not as impressive as the other two, is definitely above average. His Ikaraka Jiseki no Jutsu was utilized to perfection. More than a few eyebrows were raised after this comment. However, Anko ignored them and continued. Next, Yamanaka Ino. She took Naruto's advice into consideration and while hiding in the shadows, she launched a mini version of the B-rank ninjutsu, Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. She minimized the chakra output and used it as a distraction, and finally, her exquisite use of Shinranshin no Jutsu was the one to finish the onslaught of the three. Her taijutsu is average, her ninjutsu and genjutsu would be her forte. Last of all, Haruno Sakura, With use of the style Rankyaku, storm leg, she managed to pull my attention onto herself, thereby allowing her teammates to wait for an opening. Her taijutsu is of course, above average, her ninjutsu is acceptable, and her genjutsu talent has yet to be shown. However, I have a feeling that she is a natural genjutsu type, given her superb control of chakra. Hokage raised an eyebrow. Oh, and pray tell, what was Naruto-kun up to all these time? Anko smirked. Ah, he developed his original technique into something better. He called it the Kan-Aran Blaze Wheel, and it was able to nullify the B-rank wind defensive jutsu that I pulled up, and mind you, I could tell he was holding back. The wind fueled the fire and the heat was intense. I had no doubt that I would not have been able to block it had I underestimated the brat. Kakashi raised an eyebrow whilst others gasped. Whoa Anko, quite the humble girl today. Are you telling me that he could have you if he wanted to? Anko grinned sadistically. Are we jealous Kakashi? Looks like someone's technique might rival your Chidori soon, he. Kakashi chuckled. To be honest, I would look forward to it. If he can indeed defeat my Chidori, well, we can tell a lot could be expected from him. But right now, I assume that it is classified as a B-rank technique. Sandaime Hokage chuckled before shaking his head. No, it will be classified as a high B-rank assassination technique, just below your Chidori Kakashi. And Anko, are you certain? If anything, Anko's grin widened even more. Hi, Hokage-sama, Genin Team 6, consisting of Uzumaki Naruto, Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura, led by Mitarashi Anko, requesting for permission to begin missions. Sarutobi nodded, and with a rare smile, he stamped the report. 4 huge letters in red were printed across the page. Pass. Next morning. Nei-chan, you make sure you take good care of yourself. Kureki chuckled and patted him on the head. Hi, I will Otudo, younger brother. Now, remember to practice the Harameki techniques. Well, then, I have to go. Naruto nodded, before enveloping Kureki in a huge hug. Be safe. You too. And with that, Kureki dashed off towards the gates, leaving a slightly depressed Naruto behind. Aw man, alone, again. Great. Kit, just to let you know, it's 6:45, I suggest you make your way over there fast. Fine, ah well, can't be sad over something that can't change. Let's go. Training. Yeah, Kit, I swear, do you have to be bipolar? What's that mean? Haha, I'm just messing with ya. I'm not impressed you know. Oh, really? You don't want me to introduce a certain guy into your cage? No. Anything but that. Kit, don't you dare. Not so mighty now are you. Grr. What was that? Che. Lazy fox, sleeping again. 15 minutes later. Yo, I'm not late am I? Naru-kun, cheered Ino as she gave him a hug. Sakura merely shook her head at her friend's entrance. Honestly, must he be so? I mean, who the hell comes at like 7 a.m. sharp? As in 7.00.00 am. Not joking. Where's Anko? Asked Naruto as he looked around. Not here yet. Well, guess she overslept maybe, she always does that. Always does what? Everyone spun around to see a vibrant Anko with a Cheshire grin on her face. Now, talking behind other people's backs is a very bad habit. Piggy-chan, I think you just caused your whole team to be punished. If anything, her expression turned more sadistic in a matter of seconds. Now, I suggest you run, I'll give you 5 minutes head start. Oh, and if I catch you, there will be no mercy. Needless to say, Sakura and Ino dashed into the forests as quick as they can, leaving an amused Naruto behind. Honestly, Do you have to do that every time? Anko chuckled. Well, it gets them alert. Now, Naru-chan, what say you we get started? Naruto sighed and muttered, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. In an instant, 4 clones, poof-ed, into existence. Followed by, Henge. And soon, 4 perfect clones of Naruto, Sakura, Ino and Anko appeared. Anko grinned and chucked them several scrolls. Here ya go, those are the missions for today, make sure you guys finish them all. Naruto gave a silent command and all the clones sped off into the distance. And then, he turned back to Anko, getting into his taijutsu stance, getting an amused chuckle from Anko. Oh, so forward today Naru-chan, ready for my show of love so soon? Naruto deadpanned, yeah, your love is very much appreciated, thanks. Before he turned serious, but hey, who said anything about you fighting me? Anko raised an eyebrow, and what exactly? Naruto had already answered the question, it was the definite stance of Ryudo Gensu Ken, flowing illusion's fist. Shirataki. Hurameki Hyaku Niju Go Sho. Waterfall. 125 flash palms. In an instant, he disappeared from the spot, and as he picked up speed, he flashed out his strikes one after another, gathering speed by the moment, never staying in one spot more than a second, and with just that one move, he had totally caught Anko by surprise. The palms were weaving a web around her, faster and faster, slowly, the space allowed for Anko to dodge decreased, and as the attack was coming to an end, Anko was frustrated as hell, Kusogaki. Shitty brat, roared Anko as she blocked palm after palm. This is it. You shall have no mercy. Now die, roared Naruto as he flung 4 kunai with deadly accuracy towards the target. Whether it was by skill or pure chance, the target gave a wild meep before getting into an insanely awkward position and avoiding all 4 by a few centimeters. Naruto landed on the tree branch, slowly inching his way towards the target, his grin getting more sadistic by the moment. Come on, say hello to your executioner. And just then, 2 fists bashed him in the head, sending him onto the ground. Naruto no baka, look what you've done, yelled Sakura as she quickly helped the poor cat out of the less than ideal situation. Damn it, I was so close toing it, another punch. Ino merely sighed at her team leader. Honestly, Anko appeared at that moment. Yosh. Congratulations on completing the real 5th mission. What's wrong with Naruto? Naruto was currently being stomped into the ground by Sakura for daring to murder the target of the mission. It was D rank, a simple retrieval mission. The fire daimyo's wife had lost her cute pet cat, Tora-chan, and so, Team 6 was sent to find it. The Hokage felt that letting clones do all the missions would not be enough, so occasionally, he would order Team 6 to actually participate in a mission. And the fact that they've been assigned this same mission thrice is saying something, especially the fact that Naruto hates that cat with a passion. Sakura-chan, just let me slice a limb off, ouch. Naruto, how could you? Look at it, all scared and shivering, cooed Sakura as she petted the cat. It's a devil, look at this. Just look at all the scratches this little blob of crap gave me. Naruto yelled with anime demonic eyes. This time, it was Ino that smacked him on the head. Naruto, language. Naruto spun around faster than a Hyuga can do Kaden, Nani. What? I'm a freaking shinobi. I can swear like a sailor for all I care. Again, another smack. Are you two doing this for fun? Smack. Grr. You're pushing it. Smack. That's it. Give me the cat. It's gonna die right now. Roared Naruto as he charged at the terrified animal, who quickly dashed out of Sakura's hug and made a run for the forest, with a maniacal Naruto right on its tail, literally. Anko, Ino and Sakura couldn't help but sigh. Jesus, it's just a small cute cat. Naruto just has to be so troublesome. I did not just say that. Damn Shikamaru for rubbing off on me. Well, technically, you can't blame the poor fellow for wanting revenge on the cat. During the first retrieval mission, just as the cat was about to be caught, it clawed at Naruto's jewels, and oh boy, had it not been for the years of training Naruto had endured, he would have been hit right on. So obviously, Naruto had a reason for the grudge, even if he is a bit too enthusiastic and sadistic to carry it out. Anko sighed. Long day coming up. At the Hokage's office after the mission. Oh my Tora-chan. I am WISSSEDU. Screamed the fire daimyo's wife in glee as she continuously rubbed her blubber-like cheek against Tora-chan's face. The comedic tears coming from its face is more than enough to prove that really, the owner is the reason why the cat runs away. Only Naruto seemed to be enjoying every minute of this. He could be heard whispering in glee, "That's right, hug him tighter. Mwahaha. Tighter, tighter, suffocate him, that's right." Multiple sweat drops were seen on the shinobis present in the office. Sandaime Hokage cleared his throat and made a mental note to not assign Naruto's team this mission anymore, for fear of the young blonde's sanity. After the little scene, the fire daimyo's wife left with her cat and so, Team 6 is currently waiting patiently in front of the Hokage's office, except Naruto, for another mission. With Naruto's clones, in just 3 days, they've completed 36 missions, that's like 12 per day, and so the Hokage has ordered them to do the rest themselves, in order to keep them occupied. Nay, Oji-san, what's next? I swear if I see that cat again. A murderous aura began to surround Naruto, and if one could see inside of Naruto's mind, they would find the very impressive sight of Kyuubi guffawing at Naruto's antics. Naruto, your team's next mission, well, seeing you have so much stress, I'll give you this one, here, your 40th D rank. There have been constant complaints from females that a certain pervert is peeping on them at the hot springs. Find out what is going on. Or so it says, do you accept? Asked a very amused Hokage, knowing full well who that pervert is. Ah, my disciple, enjoy your life today, for it's about to come to a short end. Sakura, Ino and Anko were furious, their eyes were spitting fire and for a second, they seemed more powerful than Kyuubi himself, which he had stated whilst quivering within Naruto. Of course we accept it. Right Naruto? Both teenage girls glared at the blonde, making him sweat drop. Why are they angry at me? Probably because you're a male, and males never win against the opposite. You've got a point. Kit, for your sake and mine, I suggest you agree quickly, besides, this will be another chance to get into their good books. Like duh. I get to relieve my stress and destroy the pervert. Well, yeah, I almost feel pity for him, almost. You just like seeing others beat up by them Like hell yeah, why should I be the only one to suffer their wrath? What? Yeah, you're whipped. Shut up. Right. Naruto quickly snapped back into the real world. Definitely. We'll take it. It's about time that bastard got totaled. He announced, determination in his eyes, though they secretly stared at his teammates to see what their reaction was. Sakura was smiling widely and Ino was cooing at how Naruto was such a gentleman. Yeah, that was the right choice. No doubt. Anko grabbed the scroll and after giving Naruto a quick ruffle on the head, she motioned for the team to follow her. Okay, this will be your first ever solo mission, as in without a Junin-sensei following you. Naruto, I trust that you'll finish this mission with the utmost efficiency, are we clear? Naruto merely stared at her. Her hand was in her pockets, inching ever so slowly towards her wallet. Her mouth was drooling slightly. Her eyes were wide with excitement. Naruto deadpanned, you just want to go and eat dango Anko faked a pout. Ah, so smart. But anyways, bye. And off she, poof ed. Naruto sighed. This is ridiculous, our sensei choosing food over us, dango no less. Kami must be a female, I should not have said that. Ino and Sakura were giving off their devil auras again. What was that Naru-kun? Mind repeating that Naruto? Naruto gulped and immediately changed the topic. So, who's ready for some pervert beating? His grin was there again, only to falter when both girls, blushing crimson, smashed him into the ground. Kya, Naruto no baka, and, no, hentai. And with that, both girls, still blushing, marched off towards their destination. What the hell did I do this time? Kit, I think you should rephrase that sentence. I just said, pervert beating, the hell? How can you misunderstand that? Don't look at me. Just give it up. Naruto sighed as he picked himself up and glared in the direction where snickers could be heard. Iruka was seriously stuffing his fist inside his mouth to stop himself from laughing out loud. The Hokage was chuckling and the others. He rolled his eyes and ran off towards the hot springs, intent on making that certain pervert pay for his mishap today. At the hot springs. Nay, don't you think that we were a little mean to Naruto? I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean it that way. He always hated perverts. Ino whispered to Sakura as they hid in the bushes. Sakura bit her lips and hesitantly nodded. Yeah, guess we overreacted. We should say sorry. Both girls sighed and looked towards Naruto, who was currently sitting like 10 meters away from them, face intent on looking anywhere but at the girls, just in case the girl accused him of being a pervert or something. 2 pairs of subtle footsteps were enough to alert him. He turned his head slightly, and giving a small smile, he asked nervously, what's up, girls? His slight twitching was noticed and both girls immediately gave him their usual friendly hug. Naruto, Gomen, we heard you wrong just now, so, we're here to apologize. And just how in the 9 levels of hell did you interpret what I was saying? Kit, you don't want to know. Naruto sighed and shook his head. It's okay. Stuff happens. Now, come on, we've got a Ms. Sion, too, grr. Sakura and Ino looked at him, totally confused as to why Naruto suddenly got angry. In less than a second, Naruto charged past them with Shunpo and snarled, "You dirty son of a bitch. Found ya, you sick pervert." Both girls merely stood there dumbfounded, before turning around to see an old man with long spiky white hair squatting at a small crack on the wall of the female side in the spring, giggling in a very perverted fashion all the while. But apparently, Naruto's shout got his attention, and in a second, he turned around, eyebrow raised, and forming a ram seal, a huge poof of smoke was seen before he appeared once again, seated on something that looked like a huge toad, if you ignore the swords and metal bracers it wore. And as if on cue, the toad's tongue flung out and wrapped itself around Naruto, totally ignoring Naruto's yelp of surprise. It raised high up into the air before slamming him down straight into the hot springs. Atsui. Itai. Hot. Ouch. Taku. Stop yelling that loud, brat. If the beauties found out and ran, what am I gonna do? Grumbled the old man, eyebrow still raised, face set in a totally lazy expression, left arm supporting his cheek, eyeing Naruto with distaste. He had 2 significant thin strips of red from the bottom of his eyes down to his chin. His forehead protector had the word, Abura, oil, on it. He wore an olive-colored outfit with a red singlet vest thingy on top of it. Again, apologies because I seriously can't describe clothes. Cheeky smiley face. Sakura's eyes widened for a moment, before yelling out, Naruto. Ino was flabbergasted by his appearance and stood rooted to the spot. After a few seconds, Naruto dashed out of the hot spring and Rin ready. You'll pay for that. The flames seemed to react to his anger and turned golden blue. Take that. Ino yelled. Naruto. Stop it. You might him. After finally getting out the initial shock. The old man looked amused. Ho. What's that? Omoshiroi, interesting, let's see how well it stands up to this. And to Sakura and Ino's utmost surprise, chakra began to gather on the old man's left hand, and quick as a flash, the chakra formed before their eyes and took on the shape of a sphere, with the chakra within spiraling furiously, just like a mini hurricane. Naruto, not one, to be put down, increased the intensity of the attack, allowing the rings of flame to spin even faster and yelled, all right, you asked for it. Ginka. Kanrin. Golden flames. Blaze wheel. The old man's grin widened. Nice power, now let's test it, Rasengan. Boom. Both attacks clashed, causing quite an explosion to occur, but luckily, they were in the wide space behind the hot springs, so close to no damage occurred. Naruto at first thought he was winning, but soon, he was pushed to a draw, before slowly, he felt he was being caught within the spiral. What the? And right there, the attacks cancelled each other to reveal the pervert smirking, and with one swift grab, he caught hold of Naruto's hand and flung him back into the hot spring. Atsui. Hot. HMPH. Gaki. Not bad, able to hold your own with a low-level Rasengan. Name. Naruto coughed, before he was helped out of the spring by Sakura and Ino, all shocked at what just happened. This old pervert just nullified Naruto's strongest assassination attack. Who the hell is he? Uzumaki Naruto, the best ever future Hokage, yelled a panting Naruto, trying to get on his feet. His chakra was almost used up, seeing how he went through loads of missions today and the toll of the Kage Bunshin was having some effect on him. The old man looked stunned for a moment, before smirking, Uzumaki huh? I see. So, where did you learn that jutsu? Seems pretty strong for even a chunin. And seeing you're just a brat, you're genin at best. Naruto looked offended and snarled, I made that jutsu. I created it. The old man stared for a moment. You made it yourself. You're able to manipulate your element this early. Naruto huffed. Hell yeah. Now who the heck are you? You old pervert. The old man glared. Shut up. I was doing research before a stupid brat like you interrupted. Oh really? Research? Isn't that just peeping on women in baths? Now, what happens when a person yells? Normally, the people within the range of 2-5 meters would be able to hear. Okay. What happens when a person yells in a wide open space? That 5 meters changes to 10. And finally, what happens when that person happens to be Uzumaki Naruto, aka, loudest person in Konohagakure? Everyone hears it, including the women bathing in the hot springs. And what was their reaction? Kaya hhhhhhhh. Screamed the women before they dashed out of the hot springs, clinging onto their towels, running for their lives. Ah ba 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 ba. Baka baka baka. Look what you just did. Cried the depressed pervert, before glaring at Naruto right in front of his face. Now you ruined my research. You damn brat. Che. Whatever pervert. Brat. Pervert. I'm not a pervert. Whatever. We have proof. Stop trying to. The old man shut him up with the next sentence, the smirk growing wider by the second. I'm a super pervert. Mwahahaha. His fingers stroking imaginary assets as he said this. Naruto could only stare as he gritted his teeth. Kuso, he actually admitted it. Just as they were about to resume the staring contest, Sakura finally spoke up. You're Jiraiya-sama right. Onyo Densatsu no Sanin no Gama Senin, that toad hermit of the legendary Three Ninjas right. Naruto frowned. Sakura-chan, how can you still call him Sama? Ino bopped him on the head, baka. This is the Jiraiya-sama. Even if he is a pervert. The old man gave a small mysterious chuckle. Ho! Looks like someone recognizes me after all. That's right, I am Jiraiya. My name is known throughout the lands, for my handsomeness, my strength and my writing skills. I am the legendary Toad Sennin, Jiraiya-sama. All throughout his speech, he was doing that weird dance thing as an introduction and ended in the position with him standing on his toad and his right hand stretched out, palm open and that same proud smirk on his face. Silence, and sure enough, the crows got their cue and came flying into the scene, yelling out in voices that seemed to say, "Aho, aho, idiot." All three sweat dropped. Are all strong people weird? Let's see. Hokage Jizan, smokes in a pervert, check. Mitarashi Anko, sadistic bitch, check. Hitaki Kakashi, reads perverted books and always late. Check. Yeah, Kit, you finally found the trend. Naruto snorted at that, no comment. Jiraiya's sweat dropped before jumping of the frog that, poof ed, a moment later. So what brings you three gakis here? We were sent here to find a pervert that females kept complaining of. Turns out it was you. You're lucky Anko-chan isn't here, she would roast you. Jiraiya paled at that. Your sensei. Naruto smirked. Mitarashi Anko. Jiraiya gulped. Right, got it. And he cleared his throat. So, you're the. His hands made a funny motion. Naruto raised an eyebrow. If you're talking about my tenant, then yes. Jiraiya nodded. Well, you should know that I taught the Yondaime when he was alive then. Sakura and Ino gasped. Really? I thought that was just a rumor. Naruto stared at him long and hard. That jutsu, what is it? Huh, you don't know. Ah, I see. Sarutobi didn't tell you, did he? No matter. You're not old enough. But how about I make a deal with you? Naruto narrowed his eyes. What deal? Jiraiya whispered. I'll train you and your girls if you keep quiet about my research. Sakura and Ino froze. Keep quiet about this pervert. Kotawaru, I refuse, Naruto answered without hesitation. Nani? I hate perverts. End of story. So don't try using jutsus as a way of bribing us. Sakura and Ino aren't my girls. I hate it when people refer to kunoichi as objects. His eyes were cold, as though some bad memories were brought up. Sakura and Ino stood behind him, kunais ready, just in case the Sannin decided to punish Naruto for his retort. Naru-kun. Jiraiya stared for a moment, before laughing. Yep, two alike. Wakata, report me if you want. But still, I want to train you. And he doesn't like it one bit. Oh, he can do it alright. Yeah, with two hands. Lame. He wasn't happy at all when he found out that he finished the exercise within a day, note, as in 3 hours using two hands, when you're supposed to be able to do it any time, any place using one hand. His chakra control was good, no doubt, but it just won't work. No idea why the heck it doesn't. Jiraiya was guffawing at the look on his face when he failed to burst that goddamn balloon for the 100th time, and just as he was going to bash the old man up, he heard a quiet mewing and spun around, only to find Tora-chan playing with his balloons. It rolled the balloon between its paws, left and right, and bang. And just like that, the balloon burst. Naruto couldn't handle it anymore. He was this close to going berserk, or so quoted by the legendary pervert Sennin. Sakura and Ino sighed and knew what Naruto was thinking. He got beaten by his ultimate enemy, the shame. And so, here was Naruto once again, trying to figure out the control required. He just found it extremely difficult to maintain several different spirals at the same moment. His Kanrin blaze wheel required one raging flame spiral and that was it, but the Rasengan apparently required at least 5 spirals. And that proved to be a problem. Sure, Naruto's chakra control was good, but not that good. And Naruto, being the perfectionist, kept going at it, intent on getting it, and so here he was, at training ground 43, once again, willing his chakra to blow up the stupid. Aw damn, that's the 50th. Just then, 3 figures popped back into view. Yo, Naru-kun, how's training? Cheered Ino, feeling extremely happy that she played a major role in the recent missions. Naruto merely grunted and shook his head. Sakura pouted. Hey, we just came back from a B rank assassination mission. Give us some credit. Anko chuckled and ruffled Naruto's hair, earning her an annoyed glare. Ah, what's wrong, brat? Cat got your tongue. Naruto sighed in exasperation and stood up wobbling, before giving a small smile at the girls, before asking about the mission, and congratulating them. Genin Team 6, led by Mitarashi Anko, has officially completed their 5th assassination mission. The first 2 had Anko leading them, teaching them what to do. The next 2 were led by Naruto, seeing that he was the captain of the team, and this latest one was done basically by Sakura and Ino alone, with Anko supervising them, or admiring their handiwork, as she called it. Each of the 3 Genins has. Of course, it wasn't pleasant at all, but at least they've learned to cope with it. They had all gotten it on the 2nd infiltration mission. It was supposed to be simple, AC rank, however, due to unforeseen circumstances, they were forced to retreat and well, they got confronted and Naruto, as captain, ed the leader and forced the others to scatter so that a path was cleared. That was his first shinobi. Sakura was protecting Naruto and without even realizing it, snapped a shinobi's neck with her Torasume, Tiger Claw. She had been deeply traumatized by that incident for a while, but Naruto and Ino eventually cheered her up. Ino actually had it worst. Her was gruesome in a mental sense, for that's what it was. It was a family jutsu that her father taught her, only to use in severe conditions, and well, yeah, Ino used it then. It was called Ninpo, Kyufu Rasu no Jutsu, ninja arts, terror lash technique, where it allows the user to probe deeply into the enemy's mind, bringing out one's true fears and placing them in a mind-induced oblivion. It was horrible. The ninja Ino used it on had slashed at his own face with a kunai multiple times beforeing himself. Ino just stood there in shock, rooted to the spot. Had it not been for Anko, she would have herself too, for the jutsu has a side effect, namely, the user would get glimpses of what their enemy had experienced. It had taken Anko days of continued counseling to calm the girl down. Her father, Inoichi, was more than shocked that she had to use that jutsu so soon, and apologized to her profusely and blaming it all on himself for teaching it to her. Ino had finally recovered, with a much stronger resolve this time around. She understood the harshness of life and so did Naruto and Sakura. They grew strong and now had an even better understanding of each other. They treasure their times together even more and rarely ever quarreled. This latest mission was something like a test. Naruto had proven in the 2 missions that he led that he possessed superb leadership qualities, a quick cunningness and excellent combat skills. In fact, the last mission showed off Naruto's strength and therefore, there wasn't much room of performance for Sakura and Ino, hence this time round, Anko ordered Naruto to stay and practice the first stage of Rasengan whilst they went to collect another B rank. He had sent a Kage Bunshin with them, just in case though. Naru-kun, so did you succeed? Chirped Ino as she plopped herself onto the grass beside her favorite blonde, besides herself of course. Naruto sighed before holding the water balloon in his hand once again, getting there, but not quite. Indeed, several forces could be seen acting on the sides of the balloon, giving it quite a rough surface, but not enough to penetrate it fully. Anko gave a whistle. Not bad, boot, enough for one day, we're all getting some dango and have a good night's sleep. Tomorrow, I've requested a surprise for you guys. Sakura and Ino immediately backed away from Anko, skeptical looks on their faces, whereas Naruto merely snorted, yeah, surprises, one day, I swear I'll die because of your surprises. Anko pouted, hey, that's not very nice. Wasn't meant to be, ouch. Oi, ha, that's what you get for messing with me. Anko cheered before looking at Sakura and Ino with a slight jerk of the head towards Naruto. Well, I gotta go then, my precious dango awaits. Bye. And with that familiar, poof, she disappeared from the training grounds. Sakura and Ino looked at each other, before sighing, and Ino started, Naruto. Said blonde just sat there, eyes closed, seemingly meditating, but then he spoke, sorry girls, can't walk you home tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. He got up and grabbed 5 more balloons before heading towards the lake, trying to find some clues in making the control easier. An hour later, deep into the night, Naruto was lying on the ground, totally tired out. He growled and got up once again, and just as he was about to try once more, something stopped him. The soothing sounds of the waves flowing, his eyes widened, flow. He quickly rushed to the lake, and grabbed a few pebbles, before flinging them as hard as he could into the water. And then, slowly, he watched, the ripples grew, larger and wider, and slowly colliding with the waves, and slowly, he began to see the situation in a new light. Multiple spirals, revolving around one, affected by that one. He grinned, finally feeling hopeful after hours of pointless trying, before grabbing a water balloon and concentrated, closing his eyes, picture it, a huge sphere, spirals within, unruly, yet controlled, roaring, yet silent, his eyes flashed open, chakra forming the exact same patterns that Ero Sennin used to make with his water balloon, and to his utmost joy, the balloon burst into pieces. He had done it. First stage not just completed. He mastered it, in 28 hours. He gave a huge sigh of relief before crashing down onto the ground, fully expecting the cold hard surface to welcome him, but instead, a pair of slender arms wrapped themselves around him and laid his head down on her lap. Ino. Naruto gasped, shocked that she was still here. And there she was, in all her glory, smiling gently at him as she lightly massaged his face. Naru-kun, you shouldn't stress yourself like that. Sakura and I were so worried. Naruto's mouth opened, as if to argue, but then, he closed his eyes and smiled, arigato na, Inoheim. That grin was still stuck on his face, yet it was different. Ino knew it too and blushed. The only time she had ever seen Naruto grin that way was when he was staring at her. Naruto. They had shared some alone time together quietly, and during her trauma, Naruto had been a perfect gentleman, accompanying her through the chaos of her mind, protecting her, reassuring her. Well, to others, it might not seem too special, but Ino knew better. It's just, she doesn't know how to put it. The way Naruto smiles at her always causes her heart to flutter, and she would feel dizzy with joy for some reason. Was it because she knew that smile was just for her? Or was it because she liked his attention on her? She couldn't remember when it was that she had stopped treating him just like a friend. She wasn't sure what had caused it. She just knew that, the way she felt about Naruto, was totally different from before. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, before smiling, Ino, you look beautiful right now, you know that. He raised his hand and gently caressed her cheek before whispering again, relax and let your hair down sometimes Ino bit her lips, Naruto, I have to thank you for that time. Naruto closed his eyes, it was nothing, clearly remembering what exactly happened. Flashback. Ino. What are you standing there for? Run. yelled Sakura as she barely dodged from her assaulter. She had just taken out another Kumo nin, and was slowly but definitely making her way to the exit. Ino didn't reply as she stood there, trembling at the thought of her mentally crippling a shinobi and causing him to commit suicide. Those terrible sights, those horrible illusions, she had felt it when she used that jutsu, and she saw his fears. She clutched her arms around herself, trying to stop the shivering but to no avail. It was horrible, and disgusting. She felt the urge to puke at the mere sight of the bloody shinobi. She couldn't help it, she couldn't move, she. At that moment, just when Ino let down her guard, another huge Kumo nin got behind her and raised his Zanbato. It all ends here, bitch. Die. But she felt nothing. She didn't even feel the fear of dying. She just stood there, totally accepting the blow, wanting it all to end. Being intent, the chaos, the pain, the death, everything. Just end it, and she had closed her eyes, waiting for the inevitable. Dodge Ino. Please. I'm begging you, cried Sakura as she watched helplessly from the side, battling the last two shinobi along with Anko. Anko for the first time seemed anxious. Damn it, Piggy. Stop freezing up like that. Get out of his way. God damn it. Don't die, Ino. But the voices were just blurs to her. All she could hear were the screams, the cries of pain, the shrieks of fear. Let it all end, was all that she could think of. But then, it wasn't to be so. Get thee away from her, you bastard! Roared a furious Naruto as he stood right in the way of the Zanbato and took the hit for Ino. Ino was shell-shocked, totally rooted to the spot, before crying out, Naruto! Slice. Blood. Everywhere. The Zanbato was held on by Naruto's arm and quickly, he smashed his Kanrin into that Kumo nin's chest, effectively ending his life. The cut was a deep one, he was bleeding profusely, and looked to be losing consciousness. When he looked at her, his eyes were red, slit and downright menacing. He grabbed Ino's blouse roughly and pulled her close to him, cerulean eyes staring into pale blue. Ino. If you ever dare think of dying on us just like that, ed by some pathetic Kumo nin who is of no importance, I swear to God, that I'll bring you back from hell and you again. Those words hurt. A lot. Or they should. But Ino didn't feel it. She didn't notice the words. It was Naruto's face that she focused on, and for a moment, she felt her heart wrench. Naruto was crying. Silently, but crying nonetheless. Tears were falling down and his face was full of sorrow, and she couldn't help it. She hugged him tightly, never wanting to let go, wanting to rid him of this pain. The pain she caused. Naruto hugged her back and whispered into her ear, in the same gentle tone that he had reserved for them, Sakura and Ino only, if you were dead, what am I gonna do? Ino bit her lips and restrained her tears as she saw the pain in his eyes, the fear of being alone, the dread of losing a precious one, and she had broken down. She had burst into tears right there and clung onto Naruto, crying out her apologies, over and over. Even when Anko and Sakura came to calm her down, she had hugged them both and only kept murmuring, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Flashback end. Naruto's injury healed after a few days, but the scar remained. But he never blamed Ino once, he instead berated himself for not showing her enough care and concern. Sakura had been devastated by her actions, and through all these, the three had gained a stronger bond. That was on their fourth mission. And the reason why Naruto was allowed to practice by himself whilst the other three went again. Anko didn't want the girls to become too dependent on Naruto, and also, she wanted Ino and Sakura to try out different tactics just in case Naruto couldn't be there in time. And of course, Anko knew that the main reason for Naruto not being able to concentrate on a supposedly easy task for him was because of that mission. He couldn't take the shock. Ino could have died had he been a tad slower, and that thought was eating him inside out ever since. It hurt, to know that you couldn't totally protect those precious to you. And Naruto had been so confident as well. Kureki was absent, and that had been another reason as well. He had no one to confide to. It was cold, the apartment. Just like before, and certain doubts resurfaced once again. The stress it had been causing him lately, well, had a lot of negative effects. Jiraiya knew it as well. After all, he got the reports of the missions of Sarutobi, but he had to restrict himself from helping Naruto, for he knew that if he was unable to overcome his fears, he would not become strong. He had to do it by himself. And Naruto did. He meditated, had a long talk with Kyuubi, and finally got over it. He hadn't forgotten about it, but he knew what to do. He would train to become so strong that he could protect all his precious ones. He would become the Hokage. And this was just a milestone, further strengthening his beliefs that his Nindo was right. He could let it go, but he wouldn't give up. But now, here he was, in Ino's lap, gazing into her eyes, feeling the love and care she had for him, and he knew why. Of course he should have known earlier. Kureki had teased him forever about it. He really was a doby. He loved her. He loved Ino. And so, he slowly got up and placed his hands on her shoulders, willing her eyes to peer into his very soul, that concern, that care, that bloody frustrating thing you call love when you don't even know about it. That, Ino felt numb. She had realized it long ago, deep in her heart, but she had just kept telling herself to treat Naruto like a brother. But after that, she couldn't lie any longer. It wouldn't be fair to Naruto or herself, and that was why she came tonight. She needed to tell him, she had to tell him. Here she was, mesmerized by his gentle gaze, joy dancing in those cerulean orbs. They didn't have a moment's hesitation. Their lips met fiercely, the need of warmth, the want of love. It was passionate and gentle. Simple and clean would be the right words to describe it. It was just an action, a very intimate action to let the other know that right then, right there, she was the only person in their mind. It was sweet and bitter at the same time, the joy of knowing that the other feels the same way, and the grief of bad memories. For a moment, all was still. It felt good, it felt great, it felt brilliant. Nirvana, heavenly, bliss, whatever. The warmth, the feeling of love. It's complicated. The kisses they had were short and quick. Both were unsure of their feelings. Both were immature. Both were only 12. And so they pulled away, gasping for breath. Ino, shocked that she had the courage to give away her first kiss so suddenly. Naruto, stunned by what just happened. They didn't know if what they did was right. They were only 12 and it was far too early to decide. But they do know one thing, that at least, the kisses weren't for naught. They liked each other. More than a friend, but less than a lover. Friends with benefits, some would call them, but they refused to take it that way and they knew it. Naruto sighed before taking Ino in his arms, pulling her into a light embrace. For now, for now. Ino complied, for she too was confused. What she did was an act of impulse, but really, did she really love Naruto? Was it an act of gratitude or was it true love? She didn't dare say. Just like before, she didn't dare venture. The world is a stranger to her already. It was scary and threatening. She didn't want to get hurt or make some stupid mistake. She was 12. He was 12. They just became teenagers. And so they just lay there, clinging onto each other, for fear that the same familiar cold may engulf them, the need for warmth apparent once again, only this time, they had someone to care. They had someone to be with. The loneliness disappeared. Simultaneously, two sighs of relief were heard. They stared at each other for a moment, before bursting into laughter. All the troubling events and the tense situations they encountered dissolved into nothing. They were over it. And they were glad, because they got over it together. And so they cheered. Just some distance away, a certain figure lingered for a while longer, before heading back. A sad smile was evident on her face, the sorrow and regret could be seen, but an odd bit of happiness seemed to be present. She left quietly, just like the way she came.